Hi everybody, I'm back again with the latest figure in my collection. This is the Hot Toys Thor figure from the Dark World movie. This is the light armour version. It's a sideshow exclusive. There is a armoured version which is basically exactly the same, it's just that the arms are covered up. The reason I went for this one is it's a more iconic Thor for me. It's more comic book sort of look to him, which is why I went for it, and I just like the look of the arms. And I believe you can get slightly better articulation with this figure than you can with the armoured version. So without further ado, I'll give you a head to toe look, go over the accessories and just do a few sort of little poses towards the end. This is the first time I've got him out of the box, so as you're seeing it, I'm seeing it at the same time. So I might pick out a few things as we're looking over the figure. So here we go. Okay, first thing to talk about is the base. You only get this base with it, you don't get the normal Hot Toys bog standard black base. It would have been nice if they added that, because for this figure, if you want to have him just freestanding, it is better to use the old Hot Toys stands. This one's better for flight poses, but I'm glad that they've got this. The other drawback with this stand is it's quite large, so if you've got a Detolf especially, the chances are you're only going to be able to put one more figure in with him, and that'll be a figure with the normal base, because this does take up over half the shelf. So that's a little bit of a drawback with these. If you've got the long glass cabinets, then it shouldn't be a problem, which is what I might convert to later. It's all plastic. I think it replicates the scene where he comes down from Asgard and smashes into the ground, and it just sprays the sort of ground out, so it's portraying that. This is the dynamic stand again, same as the Superman figures from that line. It's the metal bendy pole that you get with the clasper at the top. As you can see, not ideal for standing poses, but great for flight poses. And it has the aluminium nameplate on the front with the light Asgardian armour version printed on it. I'm not sure, I don't think this comes with the armoured version. I think the armoured version has the normal stand, and I think it's got like a flat bit of card with a design on it that you can put on the floor and put the stand on. I believe that's what comes with the other version, so that's the other difference. Correct me if I'm wrong. So before we come onto the figure, let's talk a bit more about his accessories. He comes with 8 hands. This figure's straight out of the box. You've got the fisted hands that you can see here. He also comes with 2 hands for holding the hammer, left and right obviously. Again, great paint apps, nice sculpting as always with Hot Toys hands. He also comes with just 2 normal relaxed hands. I don't know if it picks it out on this camera, but you can see the little bit of shading and that they use on the paint, which just adds to the figure. Really nice. And as with most superhero figures, the classic open palmed aggressive sort of hand. Great for dynamic poses these are. Show you one up close. You can see the detailing, you can see the veins on the back of the hand, the nails. Really is nice. Comes with 2 spare cape buttons, just in case these break. Because if you want to put the poncho on, you have to take those out to put it on. And to take them out, they've provided you with this little tool. doesn't feel strong enough to me. It's a possibility you've got to flip it underneath and then pull it out, but there's a good chance that this could break, and there's a possibility that these could break as well. Knowing Hot Toys, that could happen, or probably will happen with me. You've got the 2 spare wrist pegs, as always. It comes with the metal hammer, very similar to the last release, the Avengers release. I believe the handle is slightly different. The only issue I have with this is, because this is solid metal, it's heavy. It's okay at the moment because the figure's new, so the joints are quite stiff. But I think in time, if you want to have him holding this and have his arm up, over time I think the joints will weaken, and because of the weight of the hammer it will pull the arm down. So it would have been nice if they kept this metal, yeah, but maybe made it aluminium and hollow inside. Would have been better. But as it stands, great looking thing. And he also comes with the poncho. I wasn't 100% sure if this came with the light Asgardian version, but it does, which is great, and I think this looks really nice on the figure. Hopefully I'll be able to do, towards the end of the video, you'll be able to see this on the figure. I'm a bit wary of pulling the head off and pulling those buttons out, but I will give it a go. If it breaks, it breaks. Hey, I'll have to order some spares. And it comes with the instruction booklet on how to do it. So that's it for the accessories. Let's move on to the figure itself. Starting with the head sculpt. Bigger improvement over the last version. The first version they did from the normal Thor movie wasn't very good at all. And then when they brought out the Avengers version, the head sculpt was miles better, and they've perfected it again on this release. That's it, it's back in focus. Great paint apps, does look like Chris Hemsworth. Nice sort of designer stubble look, great sculpting, no googly eyed effect, which they did suffer with on their older figures. The hair is sculpted hair. You'll be able to see it a lot better when I do some posing later in a ponytail. The only thing I'm not too sure about is the mouth. A slightly open mouth. Let's try and get it to focus. There we go. Slightly open mouth. I'm not too sure about that. I think for this figure it would have been better if they'd had the mouth closed. But I suppose it depends on what sort of pose you put him in. So this is the light Asgardian version, so it's sleeveless. It's fully rubberized, seamless arms. I'm not sure what the articulation is going to be like on it yet, because I haven't actually pulled it about yet, but we'll see that later on. Everything clothing wise on this body, apart from the cape of course, is plastic or rubbery sort of material. The gauntlets do come off. Just pull the hand off and the gauntlets will slip off. So this is all rubber. Maybe in the future they might start making these bits metal, now that they're starting to go more die cast sort of way. This is all rubber as well. The blue cloth bit underneath is actually cloth. The legs are a sort of fake leather material, and this is more of a plasticky sort of material on the sides. Again, this is a material, fabric. This is all fake leather. The shin guards do move, and they will come off if you pull the feet off. They're not actually fixed on, so that's ideal for posing. If you find if it's actually fixed onto the material, it restricts it a little bit, or it doesn't look quite right when you bend the legs. So it's good that they've had that loose, so it gives you the opportunity to give him some pretty good looks when you pose him. Weathered sort of look on the feet. Does have articulation in the ankles. Let's lift his cape up so you can see the back of it. It's not a very good sort of in-depth review on the clothing. I'm not very good at explaining clothing. But it just gives you an idea of what the figure looks like. The cape, very similar to the Avengers release. I don't know if it's intentional or if it's a flaw with mine, but round the bottom of the cape, sort of from here down, it's a bit difficult to pick out on the camera, but it's dark. You've got the light red here, and then it goes darker. I think that is supposed to be like that. If you've got this figure and you haven't got this on yours, then please let me know. It does have a slightly bit of darkness sort of halfway up as well, but it's mainly on the bottom. Nice sort of folds. All comes like this in the box. You don't have to put it on, don't have to put the folds in, it's all moulded for you. So that's the figure. Sorry it's a bit brief, but what I'll do now is pause the video and start doing a few little sort of poses for you. There won't be many, and I'll finish off with him with the poncho on. Fingers crossed I don't break it. So be back in a sec. Okay, here's the first pose. Very simple. Just wanted to show that you can pull the arms up quite nicely. No restrictions there. So mine is quite tight, so at the moment the hammer isn't really pulling the arm down at all. And I've opened the legs up a little bit. I will try and open up a little bit more later. And I've sort of angled the ankles so they do move left and right and up and down. So very simple sort of pose. I will try and do some quite extreme ones just to see how well these arms really do bend, and the legs. What I've noticed, when you take the hands off, there is actually metal inside here. So I would assume that there's metal going all the way up the arm there, which adds to the strength. So that might help with holding the hammer. So I'm going to use the sort of freestanding, just stand him on this book here, rather than put him on the base. But you will see him on the base later. So we'll move on to the next. Okay, I'm using the dynamic stand this time, as he's off the air. Looks like he's just coming down to smack his hammer. I'll show you that you can pull the arm up quite nicely. It does look a little bit strange when you bend it like that, but you can see you can bend the arm quite nicely. With the legs, again, because this isn't fixed, if it was fixed it would have been up like that, and you would have seen, if I can just get under there, you could see the ankle joint looks very unsightly, but because it's not fixed, you just push it straight down, covers it up nicely, no problems whatsoever. I'm not very good at poses. If you want to see some really good poses, then check out Clipper King, because he is definitely one of the best. As I say with a lot of these figures with capes, it would be nice if they'd given you a second cape with wiring in it, so you can actually sort of maybe fly it out like this. But for the price that you're paying for this, you can't really grumble. So we will move on to the next pose. Okay, this is a slight variation on the last one you just seen. All I've done is just put his arm down a little bit. I've opened his legs up a little bit more, bended it up, There's quite a lot of play actually in the groin area. A lot of Hot Toys figures it has a bit of a problem, you can't open them up as much, but this one isn't so bad. I just want to show you the dynamic stand in action a bit more. I've bent it round and stuck it straight out. Because this figure isn't die cast like the latest Iron Man figures, it's not weighty, so it won't pull the stand down, and because it's quite a big stand as well, it is quite stable. So you should be able to get some pretty good sort of flight poses with this figure on this stand. With the arms up at the shoulders, you can pull it sort of down and up. A lot of Hot Toys figures are being made this way now. So you have got a bit of scope there with moving the arm. So if you pull the arm into a position and you get like a gap underneath the arm, you can actually manipulate the shoulder and push it in to get rid of that gap, which is really good. Sorry about the shakiness on the camera here. I've just come back from a rock concert last night, so I'm a bit wary at the moment. So what I'll try and do is a couple of sort of standing poses. I will try and do a pose if I can to recreate this, but I don't think I'll be able to pull it off, but I'll give it a go. So on to the next. Okay, nothing too spectacular here. Just to show you that, pull the hammer straight out to the end, it doesn't fall out of the hand. It's quite a tight grip, so you shouldn't have a problem with that. I've bent this arm up, just turning around, so you can see that you can bend it up quite nicely. It does look a little bit strange, but as I said, around this area here, you keep it like this, it will eventually weaken and tear. So again, I can't stress this strongly enough. Don't keep him in extreme poses for too long. Let's see if I can get him to stand on his own. Right, he's not on any stand whatsoever, and he just stand up on his own quite nicely. Obviously, a slight little knock on a detolf and he will fall over. So I wouldn't really advise standing your Hot Toys figures freely like this, but you can do it. So just probably one more pose and then I'll show him with his poncho on. Back in a sec. Here we have him in just his typical badass looking pose, just more of a static sort of pose really, but it does look quite impressive. Just standing there. This is probably how I'll show him in the detolf. I've pulled the arms about a bit before I put him in this pose, and there is quite a bit of play in there. It's quite robust, but I'm still a little bit wary of moving them about too much. So do be gentle. Okay, we'll do one more pose and then it will be him with the poncho on. I'll try and do another pose with the arm bent up a bit more. Okay, with this pose, the hammer is a little bit heavy. It is pulling on the arm a little bit, but you can get it there. Just got him sort of leaning forward. I've bent the ankles. As you can see, he's not on a stand, he is standing quite nicely on his own. But say the hammer is slightly a bit heavy for this sort of pose. I found it was pulling on the hand peg, it was making it sort of spin around a little bit. So it's a little bit loose there. But I've almost got the required look. I was trying to push the arm up here a little bit more. is if it's actually coming down across his face, but I couldn't quite manage it. It is a bit restrictive for that. It's probably about as best as I can get it. But anyway, on to the Poncho look, and fingers crossed I won't break it. Okay, here I have him with his poncho on. Managed to get it off, his cape off, without much problem. I've decided, after actually seeing it on the figure, I think I'm going to go with the red cape. But very simple, the head popped off, no problem whatsoever. This was a little bit flimsy, but it's quite tight. If you do push it down, you have to give it a bit of a firm push in, and then just flip it up a little bit like that, and then with your fingers pull the buttons out. This is like a solid plastic underneath. There's the pins. It just popped out quite nicely actually. I was quite surprised. The more you do it, the easier it will be. It's not a bad look with the poncho. A little bit of tweaking about it would be okay, but I think I'm going to go with the red cape. Let's just spin it around so you can have a look. Have a look on the poncho. It's got some little buttons on the top there over the shoulders. It does sort of hang down quite nicely. Sort of frayed at the bottom, silvery sort of look to it. And that goes all the way around the side actually. It does sit quite nicely on the figure. I haven't done a very good job of it here, but with a bit of tweaking about it, it could look quite nice. But yeah, there you go. That's the Hot Toys Thor Dark World light armour version. My overall thoughts: best Thor by far from Hot Toys. If you haven't got one of these yet, a Thor figure, this is definitely the one to go for. I would expect the light armour version will go up in price as it's a Sideshow exclusive, but you should be able to readily get the other one quite cheap, the armoured version. You can buy these as a twin box set, I think, from Sideshow, and 100% sure. Articulation wise, not really a problem. As I say, a little bit of an issue with the hammer being a bit too heavy. As I said earlier, it would have been great if it was hollow. I tried to do the pose where he smashes down on the ground, but I couldn't pull it off. There might be some people out there who could do it, but I found that it was just going to be too extreme for this figure. I don't think he can quite manage it. But I say, overall view, great figure. Really glad I've got it. I sold my other Thor to get him. Just a bit of news. I've managed to get hold of a Iron Man Python figure. I just bought it off eBay. They're going to shoot up in price, I think even more than the Midas. So I've got him hopefully coming next month. I've cancelled my Silver Centurion, the Iron Man, purely because, yeah, he's a really nice figure, but I had too many Iron Men on order and I had to make a decision, and he was the one that I sacrificed. I've got a few figures up for sale at the moment on eBay. I mentioned them in my last video. I might be getting rid of a couple more to make room for my newer figures. But until my next video, I'm not sure what it's going to be. I might do all my Avengers together now I've got my Thor back. That could be the next one. The next figure to arrive might be the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, which is the Iron Man Python and the Ancient Predator. But until then, as always, thanks for watching. I hope this video is a bit of help to you if you were thinking about getting this figure. And as always, take care and catch you on the next one.